Earning $1 billion in Farming Simulator isn't exactly an easy job, man, but somebody's got to do it. We are back here on the farm at Elm Creek trying to get to $1 billion here in Farming Sim 22. It is March of year 7. We have $440,000 in the bank and a good amount of equipment and fields. We were just coming off selling season back in January where we sold quite a lot of our silage. It took quite a long time going back and forth to the animal handler, and I have a bit of a different plan this year. A big thing that I want to focus on this year is convenience. I want to make things go quicker, I want to make them easier, but also increase our yield at the same time. I have some good things in store, I have some good things in plan, but first things first, man, it is planting season. We have some planting to do today here in March. I'm going to be getting 2 of our fields here to the left and to the right all planted. I have been leaving this field over here to the left, our very first field, by the way. I've been leaving that one as grass just to make things a bit easier, but I think I'm going to change that today. We have the grain mill going, and we just didn't quite have enough grains to have it running 24/7. It is currently paused because it ran out of things to process, so I want to get us a bit more grains at least. Of our 6 fields, 2 are already planted with wheat and barley. Don't need to do anything with those until harvesting season. 56 and 57 I believe I'll get planted today, and I'll probably just leave 50 and 53 as grass for now. They're pretty small, and it's good to keep a little bit of grass coming in. So this guy has a decent amount of fertilizer, decent amount of seeds. I am set to oat here, and I think we're just gonna get planting, man. The first plant of year 7. Always an exciting time getting another year started. As I said earlier, this last episode was very successful. We made a ton of money from our silage, even if it took a really long time to sell everything. I'm talking close to 3 hours. A lot of AI driving back and forth. I obviously helped, but I was not doing that for that long. That's just ridiculous. We'll be doing a few things differently this year. I actually looked into it, and I didn't realize that putting a production to auto sell from the factory is actually not as big of a detriment as I thought it was. That's something I'll probably be utilizing a lot more as the series goes forward. I've mentioned it before, but I think one of the most important parts of scaling up for a challenge of this, scale and magnitude is just making everything a lot easier, a lot less manual labor intensive. I think the ability to just have a lot of different things going on at once and kind of have them operate on their own, or just generally not something I have to heavily micromanage, is going to be really important. Now, I don't think that means that I'm going to have things like on auto sell all the time, but I'm going to be utilizing it a lot more often. I initially thought it was about a 40% decrease, but that's if you leave it on all year. If you instead just put something at auto sell when it's at its peak price, it will still require a bit of fees, but they're closer to like 10% instead of 40%. And when you consider that it is like instantaneous without a limit of how much it'll sell, I'd rather pay 10% fee on whatever silage I'm going to sell rather than run it back and forth for 3 hours. That just isn't going to be worth it, especially when you think, as I said, we're scaling up, man. There's going to be a lot more to do beyond this. Now, while that won't be an indefinite rule, there are a lot of products that just make a lot more sense to auto sell like that, or even potentially leave it on all year. A big deciding factor is price deviation. Some things really don't change their price that much throughout the year, so it's not that big of a deal to just sell them all the time with auto sell. All this to say, I just will be focusing more on convenience this year, trying to make things a bit easier, make them a bit more streamlined, stuff like that. Now, one thing I'm definitely not going to be auto selling is our fabric being made up here at the spinnery we got last episode. I think that's something I do want to get more heavily into. I want to get that spinnery going, maybe even to the point where I can get another pen of sheep, because that is just a very high yielding production of fabric into clothes. Now, I don't have a tailor shop yet to make those clothes. That's probably something I should do, but I think I'm gonna build up the production of fabric a bit more first. Man, one thing I love to see while going through the farm here is that bale on top of the shed. It is great. The Breaking Bad pizza on top of the shed. I don't know if I can ever take that thing down, man. Speaking of our sheep, sheep, you can see these guys over here. They are doing great. Still plenty of food. And you know, another little sheep pen right here really wouldn't be the worst thing. I think sooner or later I would like to get this field right here so we could even, you know, plow it into our current one because we own the one on the other side. And this little section right here would be really great for adding a lot more sheep. In fact, you know what, man? I think with some of the gains that we made last year, even though we still have a good amount of debt, I think expanding sheep makes way too much sense. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just get this place down, get it filled with sheep, man. Let's get this going. Bam, look at that, another one down. I had some of the auto drive waypoints on there just to make sure that I wasn't messing anything up, and wanted to leave a good amount of space on this other side for picking up the wool right here. There should be more than enough space, although that is a nasty little hill there. So I will go ahead and get some sheep put in here, probably get some more of these bales as well. So we got the first field planted here. While I was messing around getting that barn put up, you can see the second sheep enclosure over there. But we got one field covered. I think I'll go ahead and get the second one started, although I think we should definitely fill this up with some fertilizer and seeds first. I'm gonna go ahead and put an AI on this while I get them sheep covered. You can see they got plenty of wool here already, so it's gonna be a great investment. Alrighty, we got them all in here. It is ready to roll. And while we're out and about, we should definitely get them some more bales, so I just don't even have to worry about it for the rest of the year. You can see our AI is doing a great job planting, although he does seem to be missing a little bit around the edge. That's just very classic stuff. I can go back and fix it after he's done. Got our bales, and we will just take these on down to the sheepies. I think this should be more than enough to feed both of them for about a year. We have a decent amount of bales left over from that one baling contract, so it should keep them pretty well fed for a while. Okay, it was probably overkill, but I got both of these very well filled up. Look at all them bales stacked up. Sheepies will be more than fed this year. Okay, something appears to be very, very wrong with whatever course I was just using, so I need to fix this, man. What am I looking at here? It's what I get for letting an AI run this and not doing at least some of it myself, so I think I'll just go around and fix this really quick. He just missed a few corners. I think something was up with our route there on courseplay, so I will just go around and fix this really quick. Now got here up to the spinnery, and look at this. Got some fabric all ready to roll. Maybe I'll just grab that while I'm up here, man. Exciting stuff. I think we'll probably just be selling that for now. Also, backing these things up is the absolute bane of my existence. What else is new, I suppose? Lots to do this year. I'm thinking just going harder into our grains, going harder into our silage is going to be the play, at least for the short term. What I'd really like to get into, maybe in the next like year or two, if I'm able to, is cotton. I just need to be able to afford one of those harvesters. I think I'll keep an eye on the sales and see if there's anything that pops up, as I completely whiff on the turn there, but you know, I'll just drive over this nice grass field. But yeah, I think that's going to be the play long term. I like the grain, I like the bread. It's just maybe not quite as profitable as I want it to be. It still makes money. It just is very, very low gains, especially the flour part of it. If I'm not turning that into bread, then it is just like, whew, it barely makes any money at all. The one thing I do like about flour, I do like about bread, is it's a little more hands-off. Fabric so far has been a little more annoying, if nothing else, just because of the placement of the store and backing everything in there. Whereas with the grain mill, it's like this big operation. It's really easy to pull things around, dump off the products there, and then just have it sent directly to the bakery. Nah, it's a little annoying having to pick up all the bread, but nothing that crazy. Now, speaking of which, I should almost definitely go get that bread. I have added a couple mods to speed things up in terms of just, you know, making productions a bit easier, making our logistics a bit easier, because I'm not doing another 3-hour sale, man. That just is not gonna happen. So probably will be using some sort of like multi-fruit silo that can distribute out to the different production production facilities. Seeing as we're going to have a lot of them, I'm thinking that's just going to save us a lot of time in the meanwhile. On top of that, something else I was looking into is a pallet storage, and it might be even something I will replace these 2 storage units with, but it just lets us ship things out automatically using the distribution network. Now, once we have the amount of products that I need to get to $1 billion or make it a little more feasible, it's going to be required not to have to drive everything around myself. So that's something I'll probably be moving into slowly as well. Now, the one thing I did almost forget about there is it is the selling season for honey. So I think I will just go ahead and grab those and take them up to the farmer's market, man. Got a solid 12 pallets of honey, maybe another 1 or 2 over in our beehive right here. It looks like we just literally have like a 1/4 or maybe an 1/8 of a pallet there, but every bit counts and all of it will be getting sold right here. I think I'll just go ahead and keep that AI on it. It looks like he's fixing his mistake. I adjusted some stuff in course play, so, and I will go ahead and take these up myself. All right, got a decent amount of honey. We'll go ahead and bring that up right now. Oh man, it looks like I missed just the tiniest little spot while I was planting earlier. I'll have to fix that right afterwards. Getting all this oat planted on these 2 fields will be really great. Oh man, that's what I get for panning the camera around. As I was saying, oat will be really nice. I think that's going to be one of my main crops going forward, just because it does drop the straw and we can use that to turn into silage, so really good profit potential there. On top of that, it does let us do a little bit of a rotation with grass if that's something I'm wanting to do. And just as we move forward, I think that makes a lot of sense. Getting a ton of silage, which is just such a broken way of making money on hard economic difficulty. But yeah, just getting some silage, getting some of that oat, sending it on up through the grain mill. What's nice about the grain mill is it is one of the facilities that doesn't like split production when you put different stuff in. So if I have, you know, 3 or 4 different grains in there, they'll all process at the same speed, versus something like the greenhouse or the spinnery or something like that. Production gets divided between each active product going through there. So for example, the spinnery, if I had it set to just cotton, it would process that at 100% speed, but if I did cotton and wool, both of them would process at half speed. So not exactly ideal. Production could be faster there, but it makes such a big yield, it's definitely worth it. That is one thing in the grain mill's favor. Ease of use and speed of production is very, very nice. Only issue being the yield on profit is very, very low. Now I just realized I went completely by the farmer's market there. I can see it off in the background. I'm driving through the sawmill, which I actually haven't really gone to before. I haven't done really any logging. I've never done logging in Farming Sim 22, so I think that could be a fun thing to get into at some point. Maybe in the Billionaire series. I mean, maybe not at the same time, but that might be potential for a future series. Trying to go hard into logging. Anywho, here we are selling off our honey. Look at all that. Bam, $6,000. That is pretty low, but you know, that beehive has definitely made its money back. It's definitely on the lower end of yields, and I'm probably not gonna want to build any more of those beehives, but just the one when I was starting out, it was a decent way to just make a little bit of profit each year. Definitely nothing impressive though. It's made its money back, but I wouldn't be that upset to just not have honey anymore. Better use later on is if you do something like the cereal factory, you can send it there to make the cereal, but that also requires sugar, which means sugar beets, which is just not something I want to get into right now. Maybe someday. I think we're probably going to flesh out our productions even more down the line. I think just having all of them cranking stuff out at the same time is what we're going to have to do. Lots of automated harvests, all the different production facilities going on at the same time. A good amount of distribution is going to be really, really required as well. As I said, I don't want to be doing things like I'm doing right now. Although selling things, totally fine, but just driving something from one point to another, even if it's like the crops, that's going to slow things down quite a lot. I think that's something that I will remedy here not too long in the future. I think I want to replace maybe one of my silos with a multi-fruit silo, because that can then be used to distribute crops wherever we need them to go. I think I just had that, you know, realization this last episode that I need to work on this. I need to get logistics a lot better than they are right now. Now, speaking of which, it looks like our handy dandy planter over there is just finishing up. Yeah, look at that. Everything's looking pretty good. I'll just make sure that he actually got the whole field. Okay, it looks like there are just a little bit around the edges that have been missed, which is no biggie. I will go over there and correct that, get that field taken care of. But other than that, we're pretty much all planted. I think I'll definitely be moving more to that silo from this one. This might even be a good candidate for a cell very soon, and just replacing it with one of those multi-fruit silos that I've mentioned a couple times. So I decided to fill this guy up. I did look over some of the contracts, and there's a few good ones for sowing that I'll probably just send our planter out on. Planting with this thing is very, very quick, so contracts for it are just a great way to make some money. Other than that, not too much to do for March, and I'll probably just be getting fast forwarding to when we have our next harvest. I don't think we have too much to do in the next months. The main thing we'll have to do is get these grass fields over here all harvested, and even that is going to be a really small scale job. The other thing I'm probably going to be looking to do this year is maybe a little bit of field flipping. Some of the jobs we're doing right now are actually planting oat, so they'll be really good candidates to do a little bit of field flipping later, seeing as oat is just like the perfect product for us. So yeah, probably we'll just get, you know, one or two of these knocked out, nothing too special, and I'll get to you guys just a little bit later. Alrighty, a bit of time has passed since we last were on here. We're now in June of year 7, and we have quite a lot to do today. It is the beginning of our bigger field harvest. We have some barley on 31 here, and it is ready to harvest. On top of that, we also have 50 and 53 ready to be mowed because they are at stage 2. I guess one development, you can kind of see it here already, is I did turn on strawberries. I wanted these to be a little more spaced out so they don't fill up like quite as quickly, although strawberries are very, very fast. Greenhouses are one of those that does split up production, so the more you have on, the slower all three produce, but it makes it so you basically get a bit more storage. You have to empty it out less often because it's split between all 3 storages instead of just 2. So we got our mowers here, but I suppose if we're being honest, I should really get the harvesting going. Been a while since we used the old class. The other thing I was thinking was just taking a look around the map, seeing if there's any other things that are ready to harvest in terms of grains. I think it's just barley this month, so I'll be looking for any other barley fields and see if I can't get a little bit of field flipping going on. I did spend a bit of money on those sheep earlier this spring. I think it was a good investment, but it was, you know, a good 100 to 150k. Other than that though, really didn't spend any money, and that was on purpose. I wanted to give myself just a little bit more free cash in case I felt like field flipping a little bit, so that is very likely something I'll do today. Well, let's get this guy swung around and we'll get to harvesting again. So we'll just drop off our handy dandy little trailer there, get this guy all hooked up. It's a little bit trickier than it should have been because there's a little bit of an incline there. That thing wanted to stay on there, man. I am excited for this because it'll let our grain mill get back to producing. It's been quite a few months of it just not doing anything, so that feels a little bit bad. I'm hoping that doing some of the field flipping will help alleviate that without necessarily having to buy a whole bunch of new fields to like keep permanently and have to farm them. Can do a little bit of field flip, Just add a little bit of extra sorghum there to feed the chickens. I did sell a few chickens to very loving homes, I might add. I kind of want to move off those chickens. I am a bit sick of just giving them the food every single month. Just with the food capacity on that thing, it is terrible. I might get a few more chickens down the line, but we'll be doing a much bigger coop that can hold a lot more food to make it so it's just not such a pain. Now, the one thing I didn't think about that we actually do need to get doing this month is we need to be running the forage wagon on this straw. Now, that is one thing I've been thinking about upgrading. The one downside of doing that is I just want to make sure we have enough to do some of those field flips I was talking about. While it won't take money straight away to do those things, it just takes a lot of like fluid cash to afford those. As you can see, I don't have much in the bank account right now, but that's mostly because I just paid back the loan. You can see we got the loan down to $500,000. That's really good considering last episode we were sitting at about $1 million, over $1 million in debt. So been paying it down, working on it. Now I think I'm gonna get these two swapped out in terms of the tractors, get foraging on this, and maybe even getting one of those new forage wagons all purchased. I do need to get foraging like right away. I think I'm gonna do that, maybe get that mowing done with the tank tractor, and then get that new forage wagon purchased. And I think that's gonna be really good considering where I kind of want to go, how I want to focus on silage. We're doing a lot of foraging, and while this thing is pretty awesome, it has a pretty low capacity and it can be kind of slow. I found some nice modded forage wagons that kind of increase that just a little bit, just for scaling things up. I don't think I'll be selling this thing, at least not right now. It's only worth maybe like $10,000, whereas the new ones are maybe like, I don't know, 60, 70,000 each. And there is one that can even be run by the Massey Ferguson, so that's pretty huge. Now, while I have some guys over there working on that, we do need to get this mowing going. It's not going to take very long. We only have these 2 small fields, but you know, every little bit counts. And it might even be doing a little bit of foraging with the tank tractor today. We shall see. While I'm doing nothing else, I think I'll just go ahead and assist with the offload here. We do have the tank tractor starting to be mowed on the other end over there on our other fields. I want to get a decent amount done today with those field flips, so don't want there to be any pauses here. Definitely one of those days where I feel like I could use more tractors, man. I got 2 tractors working here, harvester working here, obviously, and then the tank tractor mowing. Ooh, you can see those windrows just off in the distance from one of our fields. So the very beginning of a beautiful, beautiful harvest season. I get the feeling it's gonna be a good year for gains. We already had an amazing year last year. I think that was our biggest sale ever at around $500,000 just for the silage. So I'm anticipating this will actually be a bigger year. Now, the one thing that might change is I think we're going to sell more periodically throughout the year with our silage. Since we don't have the capacity for everything that I'm going to be pouring into it, like all this straw, putting that silo on auto sell and just letting it go to town is going to work out really well. Might give us a little bit less money over the course of the year, but then again, I was driving some of that silage out to the animal handler just periodically throughout the year, so I don't think it's going to be too much different. We'll still have a really big sale, a little less time intensive though, which is the most important. A whole lot of foraging to do today. Always seems to be that way when we have harvesting to do and mowing to do, because there's always a bunch of stuff for this guy to be picking up. That is why a new forage wagon is probably going to happen. We just have the ability to do that sort of thing right now, which I think is going to be really, really nice. Just finishing up the very last of our mowing here, so we will be able to get the tank tractor helping out. So with our finances and only 500K in loans, we do have another like 600K plus of spending money today. So I'll have to look around and see what we can manage in terms of field flips. All right, you know when I'm going field flipping, I'm doing it up big. It does look like old Leroy down here is ready to harvest too, and we could technically just flip this even though it's just grass. I don't know, man, mighty tempting. So just looking here, I could get it for about 578,000 to mow it up, forage it up. Wouldn't even be a long drive to dump it off into my little silo over here. So I don't know, this is looking like a good potential purchase for a little field flipperoonie. Just don't look at what I'm doing right now. Do not look. Red number getting bigger equals bad. Don't do this at home, kids. Don't do it. In fact, we're gonna end up needing space in here anyways, so I mean, we could just do a little bit of sell, get some money through that. I'm thinking we sell a little bit. We gotta make room anyways. Yeah, makes sense to me, man. Ooh, I just fast forward a little bit. Look at that. I want to see how that's looking on the finances page. The sold products looks like we sold that for a good $66,000. So definitely not selling at peak pricing or anything like that, but it does give us some wiggle room here. Yeah, so I'm gonna flip this. Let's do it. I'll get mowing that right now. So to anyone who doesn't exactly know what I'm doing here, I am just gonna buy this. I'm gonna mow it. I'm gonna forage all this up, and then I'm just gonna sell it back. So that's called field flipping. It lets you just harvest some fields, get some money, but not have to, you know, actually invest in the field itself. You get all your money back from selling it. So, all right, we are mowing our, air quotes, our Brand new field. I've mowed this a dozen times using old Leroy's equipment with that contract, but this is our first time mowing it with a field flip, and actually our first time doing a field flip in general. So it's gonna get us a whole lot of money. And this might just be something I do more and more until I'm able to buy more fields. This might just replace a lot of the time that I'm doing contracts in the background. A little cheesy, I understand, but you know, it is built into the game to allow this sort of thing, and this challenge is extremely difficult to get to $1 billion, so definitely going to be taking advantage of things where I can. I try to keep things very realistic. I try not to use mods that are like hyper unrealistic. I mean, there's a little bit here and there, maybe some trailers with bigger capacities, some of the distribution network stuff I was talking about, but most of that is just makes things go a bit quicker for me, so it's a little less grindy day to day. I have a lot of fun with this game, but doing some of that sort of stuff all manually would just be crazy. Like, I love having Courseplay and auto drive for this challenge, and I am amazed that I was able to make it as long as I was without them at a bare minimum. But yeah, you know, good times. So we will get this all forged up. Some more mowing to do. Just when I thought I was done mowing, we have a big mow to do. All right, we are just coming up on the end of our harvest here. Very first barley harvest. It's pretty exciting, man. Ooh, can I reach it? No, just barely can't. We'll bring him around to get the last of that barley from this field dropped off, but pretty good yield, all things considered. We were growing this bad boy for a while. Gonna be a busy month next month, considering I have this guy to harvest and both of these guys to harvest, as well as any other field flips. And I did see quite a few oats. There's oat there, oat there. Anyway, we don't have to flip like every field, but it's just been a good opportunity. Now, I was thinking when this guy, after he offloads this, maybe I'll even have him go to the vehicle store. We might need to get a new forage wagon, man. I was thinking about this one right here, the TARDIS from Blizzard. It is a mod. It does have a pretty big capacity, but I mean, man, I just, this guy has to do so many back and forths. It's kind of crazy. So it'll just be kind of nice to have like a bit of a bigger capacity and just the ability to be a little more hands off, because going back and forth from a field 800 times has gotten a little bit old as this challenge has gone along. From the same mod, there was also this guy. It's a bit more of a smaller one, although it still has a really big capacity. But it is another forage wagon, and it can actually be run by the Massey Ferguson, so might end up getting this guy, and maybe even first, because I could get the Massey Ferguson going immediately on this guy, and then get the other one when we have a bit more money. All right, I mean, this thing is looking good to me, man. It's probably going to be run by the Massey Ferguson, so I tried to make it match just a little bit, man. I mean, let's do this thing, man. I think we should just go ahead and get this. And it looks like we're ready to go pick her up anyways. As much as I have enjoyed using this forage wagon, I think it might just be time for an upgrade, like I said. So that's why I'm not too sad to be grabbing these new ones. And as I said, what's nice about this guy right here, this little guy here, is it can be run by the Massey Ferguson. I definitely thought this thing was a bit bigger than this. This is a bit ridiculous. A little bit unrealistic, but you know what, whatever. We need a little bit of realism, or unrealism in this series, man. All right, looks like we got the Massey Ferguson just starting here. Gonna be very exciting to have the ability to even run a forage wagon with the Massey Ferguson. Like I said, this thing is tiny, maybe a little unrealistic for how much it can carry. It's not like crazy or anything. They find new ways to compact grass down all the time. Also, Massey Ferguson, what are you doing, man? Let's just get you out of the way. Oh my gosh. Back her up, boys. We had a collision on the course. Now, the one downside is this forage wagon cannot do the additive, but that's okay. I'll take the convenience factor. Look at that. It's filling up ever so slowly. Look at the grass filling in. Beautiful. Just wrapped up mowing that little field flipper there. You can see the Massey Ferguson's doing his thing. Now, I'm really tempted to get that other forage wagon as well, and I think I might. There's just so much foraging to do with how I've been running things as I knock over my wonderful little fertilizer spreader there. Just need the ability to speed things up a little bit. And I hate to say this, but I think another tractor is gonna be needed very soon. Some of these months, we can have everybody working very easily. So many harvests, field flips, all sorts of stuff, man. I think we will go ahead and get that other forage wagon and call it good with our fleet of forage wagons. So I'm thinking this is looking good right here, man. We're definitely pushing the upper limits of our loan once again, but at least like what, 600,000 of that was literally from buying the field that I'm gonna flip. So I don't feel too bad about maxing things out a little bit further, seeing as we're getting a bunch of that money back immediately. But yeah, look at this. Got a silage additive tank on the front, big capacity, all sorts of stuff. This will be very good for just running things without having to oversee them and just automating everything more than I've been able to do in the past. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this new as well. Ooh, look at this guy right here. This definitely should be bigger as well, but you know, it's just slightly smaller than it should be, so I don't know, it's not that crazy, man. And everybody will be foraging at once. Pretty cool, honestly. Look at this guy go. Brand new forage wagon. This will definitely make things a lot easier, and I think it's a really good little purchase, and a lot of this was spurred on by the 3-hour silage sale. I just want to make things a bit more convenient, man, even if it means a tiny touch of unrealism. So these two boys here just working side by side. You gotta love to see that. I think I'll just get a lot more of this scooped up, and then we'll see if we want to do any more field flipping. If not this month, then definitely next month, and we will get right into it. As you can see, just freshly got this all cleared up. You can see one of our forage wagons making his way back to the silo. So I'm thinking it's probably time to get this boy sold. You can see we got all that grass in there, a lot of grass today, over 700,000 liters, and then close to 300,000 liters of straw. So we're gonna get a lot of silage out of that. But back to the matter at hand here, I do believe we're gonna get this sold and get money back in our pockets, man. It is time. Ooh, look at that. My wallet's feeling a lot more comfy now, man. So I'm just getting the very last of the grass offloaded here. We got our other two forage wagons there on the hill. I kind of liked parking them there. Just barely got that done, and wanted to show y'all the money back in my pocket. I think that'll do it for now. We're just gonna get to the harvesting tomorrow. It's gonna be a big harvesting day tomorrow, so we will just get right into it, man. Well, good morning there. It is 6 a.m. here in July of year 7, and it is big ol' harvesting season, man. I wasn't even about to mess around. We're right here on the harvester. We got a lot to do today, a lot of crops to harvest. We have 1, 2, 3 of our biggest fields ready to harvest, ready to go. On top of that, there are several fields that I will consider flipping, mostly these and probably these. All gonna depend on timing and money and all sorts of good stuff like that. You can see we paid off that loan a bit again, so that is why we are down to $6,000 now. Might as well save ourselves the interest. We are very nearly maxed out to buy that one field, and frankly, we might be doing that again today. So lots to do, and I'm just gonna get this first harvest started over here, man. If I don't knock down my own trailer. So it looks like this guy already got started. I will just set up the Massey Ferguson to get offloading this, and we could even get a forager out here already. We obviously have a lot more fields to getting over here as well. Although I am tempted to get some of those fields that I want to flip taken care of immediately, so their actual farmers don't harvest them for themselves. We can't have that, man. We gotta take all of the wheat and the barley and the oat that we can. So a whole lot of foraging to be done today, so I think I will go grab one of those new forage wagons over there and get us going here. Doing some of that stuff with cotton in the last episode just really opened my eyes to how ridiculous actually some of this can be. So while it might not be a thing I do like every single year or anything like that, this field flipping is just kind of crazy. Got us a forage wagon here, and we will send him on up, get him foraging. Look at all them sheep, lots of food, lots of wool. Good times, man, good times. So already have all of our machinery working, and we're just one field harvesting right now. So you know it's gonna be a busy day when we got everything working at the same time already. Kind of wish I had a second harvester, man. I'm just now finishing up this very first field of wheat. We had the forager going for a bit, but he caught up way too quick, so I'll probably just get him started right after this. Now, the thing I was actually thinking about doing next is that field over there, just past my field. I'm thinking I'm gonna flip that just while we're all over here. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. On second thought, I think I might just cover our fields, move down to here, and then maybe come back for this guy a little bit later. That makes a little more sense to me. It's going to be a bit more expensive to do these ones. I mean, maybe I'll even go there now. I don't know. Probably a good idea to knock that one out. So that guy's going to take a run up to the grain mill. That dude is doing his foraging right there, and I am going to get this header back on a trailer and get some other fields started. I think if I'm going to field flip, I'd rather get that going now versus later. So I think I will go ahead and get that field kind of further down to the south taken care of first. Going to be field 68 here. That is some oat, maybe even 69 next to it, because that is some wheat, and they are both ready to harvest. So let's get flipping, man. Involves taking out some money. We have about 450K in loans right now. That'll be changing very shortly. As long as I sell the field afterwards, though, it's nothing but profit, baby. Definitely feels a little bad being close to $1 million in loans, though, as always. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and get this thing bought. 522,000. It's a solid 25 acres. We'll just go take care of that real quick. It would appear we pretty much have this whole thing foraged. This guy was a whole lot faster than our usual setup is. Ooh, man, I barely got it harvested in time by the time he was done. And we are doing our very first delivery of wheat here. So we will get the grain mill processing even more flour. Look at all that, man. I like watching the harvester drive through town with his little header trailer behind. Just looks so funny. All right, getting that harvest started, and I will get some of these other failures here all set up. It's always a bit tricky driving through this town here. Always scares me just a little bit. Just a little bit. Oh, lots of close calls, man. It's not exactly drivable. So this is the silo that I've been talking about here. It looks like it would fit in really well, honestly. And that'd be just a way to be able to send out all of my products across the entire map wherever I want them. So that's probably something I should consider doing. I really haven't been using these silos so much. I mean, you can see no grass in it, nearly 300,000 liters of silage just ready to be sold whenever. Now this other guy, I mean, he has a whole lot of grass in here. We're not cutting for a few more days, and this was just a huge injection from that one field flip we did, so should be fine. I think these silos will probably be leaving us very soon. Just holding on to that silage to sell, then I will heavily consider just selling that. What's funny about this field flip is I'm actually the one who planted this. This was that sowing contract I did kind of like the beginning of this episode, or maybe last episode, I can't quite remember. I planted all this oat here earlier this year, and now I'm flipping it, man. I planted it, I get the product. That's mine. Should be a very solid year. This should add a whole lot of profits, and I'm gonna want to just get some more fields after this, I think. But all of our products should just skyrocket based on all this, so I'm pretty excited for all that. So I went ahead and got the foraging started as well on this guy. He moves so fast, I think that he'll probably catch up, but he did fill up, and he is emptying this bad boy out right now, so we'll be looking good. As you can see here, we are a lot further along, actually just on the final pass now of this little field flipperoonie. Might just keep the party going next door with this one right here, although we do not have the money for it right now. So maybe we'll just send these guys up to a different field. Either that or just get this quickly foraged up here, which shouldn't take too long. The second I'm able to get all of that forage off that field, then I can just sell it right back, since we got everything we wanted off of it. So maybe I will have the Dutsvar go grab the little Massey Ferguson forager and buzz on out there and get that covered as well. Shouldn't be long at all to get that all covered by these guys, and then that way I don't have to worry about moving the header back and forth for the harvester. This should give some pretty crazy yield. I mean, that's a gigantic field to be flipping. That's part of why I held on to a good amount of money in our selling season, or at least didn't blow it all right away, which, I mean, that's a pretty major accomplishment for me, not spending all of my money immediately upon getting it. You can imagine how difficult that was for me. Alrighty, I just got this guy going on this as well, kind of split it in half. And this should get it taken care of very quickly. I think in the meantime, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and get the grain back up to the grain mill here, since we'll have a moment or two before we're able to get harvesting on this field right here, just until all that gets foraged up. Ooh la la, if my eyes don't deceive me, I thought I saw something on this little ledge right here. Oh, I did. Some more animals, man. They're having a whole little conference. Now, I could follow the rules of the other one of the little toys that I found on the other side underneath the bridge, where I only took the sheep because that's what I farm. I don't farm the other two, but I'm almost definitely gonna forget that these are here, so you know. Boop, boop, boop. And I hope you're ready for two more. A little bit of pocket change from those. It's nice, you get a little $1,000 bonus each time you find one. Not too shabby. All right, all done with our little foraging sesh here, so I believe it is time to return this field to sender. Get that sell, get our money back. Oh, the bank account looking good yet again. I think I'll move on to this guy, get that bought, and go from there, you know? So another field flip on the way right here. Another day, another harvest on definitely our field. This might seem kind of crazy, but I want to be able to hold more straw right now. I think the upgrade's going to pay for itself in a few months when we're able to just sell all that silage. I have a feeling there's at least $125,000 worth of silage amongst all the fields I want to gather straw off today. So yeah, let's just get that upgraded. Don't think about it too much. A lot more storage now. And a lot more processing speed as well. All right, so made an unfortunate discovery. As you can probably tell, it's a lot later in the day. So what I did is I put the time on fast forward a little bit, just to get the silage, you know, processing a bit quicker, with the idea that I would stop it kind of in the afternoon. I started working on some other stuff while this guy was harvesting, and then tabbed back, and yeah, it is the middle of the night and it's raining. Did not mean to completely skip July like that, but here we are. Now, the good news is everything that I was harvesting in July, I can also harvest in August. That was just like wheat and oats, so you can see those right there. We'll just need to be a bit more careful with the time after making a boneheaded decision like this. So I'll probably just work my way through this, but feeling a little dumb. I'm gonna fast forward at the very least through this rain so we can actually get harvesting, but yeah, at least the fireflies are out, man. All right, so the rain has stopped. It is August, year 7. We're obviously still doing this harvest. It is 6 a.m. in the morning. I got a lot to do before the day's over now, and kind of put myself in a pickle by doing it this way. So, but yeah, we'll get all that taken care of, and I will not accidentally skip through the entire day again. Okay, so been harvesting up this field right here. As you can see, we're on our final pass right now. We'll need to be offloaded here before I finish. That's always annoying when that happens. And we're just gonna go ahead and sell this here back. Nearly $400,000 back in our pockets. And while we're at it, I mean, I might as well get this guy too. $300,000, another 15 acres of sorghum. Why not? We'll flip it up. So we'll go get started on that immediately. As you can see here, sorghum harvesting going fantastic. The season of the field flip, man. Also, this trailer might be from a different contract, but don't tell nobody. I think I'm just gonna slam out the rest of these harvests, man. Just got this field and then the one, you know, right at home. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and take care of those, and I will have to just get back to you guys next time. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to like it. If you're not already subscribed, consider doing so. I appreciate you a whole lot, and I will see you next time for planting and selling season, man. Yahoo! Okay, see ya.